Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Saturday night's main event recap show. Hopefully, all of you saw our Saturday night's main event prediction show, because we're going to revisit our predictions later on in the show to see, out of myself, Dirty Dave, Andy Nero, and Fraz, who's the king of predictions when it comes to WWE. What a 24 hours it has been for WWE and sports entertainment. We had Friday night SmackDown, and then we rolled straight into Saturday night's main event, and it really was a main event. Every single match super delivered, and we all wondered what match would start the show, what match would end the show, because they're all main events. That's the point, yeah. So let's have a little run through of the matches, and then we are going to discuss all our key takes and our key points of each match, and then we're going to look at our predictions. The show unbelievably opened with the tag team match of Seth frickin' Rollins and Braun Breaker, of course, with Mr. Paul Heyman taking on CM Punk and Sami Zayn. And, well, I'll just do this, gentlemen. That's right. Big Bronson Reed comes out through the crowd, takes out CM Punk. We'll go into more detail on that. But basically, Rollins and Breaker won the tag match. Very interesting. Now, we thought there'd only be 4 matches on our prediction show. But if you watch SmackDown, you'll find out that Chelsea Green got a US title rematch against Selena Vega. And that match was next. And Vega retained the United States Championship. Unbelievably, what we then had, Andy, we had Big Ron. Big Ron Truth. Big Ron Cena taking on John Cena. This was a non-title match. I think we all thought something crazy could happen because of that. John Cena, with a low blow, beats Ron Cena. I suppose it was happen. We then moved on to the monstrous steel cage match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. And I think someone here definitely predicted that this was going to happen, but Damian Priest won the match by escaping the cage through the door, which I didn't think was controversial. But Fraz, according to your background, Jizzy, the Body Ventura, found it very controversial. I'm sure you're going to tell us all about that later when we discuss it. And then we got to the actual main event, the main event of Saturday night's main event. And it had to be, didn't it? It's the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. John Cena has to get involved in the main event. He couldn't stay away. But what he wasn't banking on is the return of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Mass distractions, chaos all over the place, but thankfully Jey Uso with a super splash from the top rope to win the match and retain the World Heavyweight Championship and set up a monstrous main event for our next PLE Money in the Bank. So truly a main event. Saturday night's main event divides opinion, I think. Some people, it can be a filler show. Some people, it's just a nostalgia boost. And some people, it's a very important show. I think what we'd say about this week's show is, it had all the amazing nostalgia, the old school music, different camera angles, different people, old school feel to it, which is always nice. But it really was a really important show to watch. And Fraz had a really hot take on how important he thought this show was before we went on air. So Fraz, did you want to kick us off and run through your version of Saturday night's main event?
Yes, apologies. I was just watching a video that my friend sent me. He's out in Napoli at the moment. Videos of Scott McTominay. Big up to McTominay. Anyway, Saturday night main event. Crowd was quality. The worst part about the show was definitely the commercials. There are a fuckload of commercials. In the UK, obviously we're watching it on YouTube, but they're like 2-3 minutes long, and they disrupted a lot of the matches last night. And I'll go into that when we're talking about, in particular, this was the opening match and the main event. But if you are someone that follows WWE on a weekly basis, you most certainly need to watch the show last night, because it does build the story. Normally, as Dave's alluded to, and I said offline, these are like filler events, I guess. I mean, yes, they are all main events and they're good, but going into this event, I didn't really expect anything from it. I thought I knew who's going to win every match and didn't think there would be anything that surprised me. But that being said, I thought, with the exception of the second match, they were all really good. Opening match, Seth and Bron Breakker, they come out first. Crowd, fucking huge pop. You would not think that they are heels.
Amazing.
They were singing his music. Bron Breakker's attire going down to the ring without sounded a little bit too lustful for the man, but he was looking damn good. All black embroidered, badass written all over it. It was top draw.
They both looked great in that, didn't they? They both sort of had the same. It wasn't the same style, because obviously they wear different types of trunks, and one's in a singlet, but they were both. It was made from the same material. Had the shiny stuff, the matte stuff. They looked like a really good team.
I thought they looked quality. They looked cool as fuck, and Paul Heyman is also just quality. Then Sami Zayn comes out, legendary, with his Syrian fucking trousers on, wearing the Syrian colours. And you pointed out to me today when we were out for lunch, CM Punk was wearing the same colours as well. So repping my boys. And the crowd were crazy for Punk as well. Like, it is mad how over he is.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was like, dare I say, it was almost Austin-esque when his music hit, and they left that little pause.
The one thing that annoys me about his entrance, though, so I love that the crowd all sing his song, but I do like his "It's clobbering time," and they're so into singing his song, they forget to say it's clobbering time.
Sometimes, some crowd,
But
they're trying to. Bless them, they're American, and they're trying to keep up with the amazing European crowds from that tour before WrestleMania, where we taught them all to sing, and we taught them all the really decent chants, and they just get a bit confused. They don't know what's best to do sometimes.
Yeah. So the match itself, I thought could have really cooked. Andy, are you still awake?
You might have
explain to people that you haven't actually watched a single fucking minute of this show. So if you're wondering why Andy's not had a ridiculous opinionated take on anything, he's going in blind here, which is disgusting, because in this day and age, with the technology at hand, even my good friend Lord Alfred Hayes can go onto Instagram and check out exactly what happened. But let me fill you in, right? Let me fill you in, son. It was a prime example of how the commercials ruined this, because it could have cooked. There's no doubt they've got in-ring chemistry, all four of them, but it kept cutting to fucking commercials. And the match wasn't shit. The match was good, but it could have been amazing. And the only thing, and then what you're not going to go back, if you haven't watched it, you're going to go back to see what happened at the end of this match. The last few minutes were chaotic. There were lots of spots. Punk and Rollins looked great in the ring together, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Punk's on the outside. Bronson Reed appears. Dave, cue you moving your head. Appears, just standing there like that. Runs over. Well, I say run. Briskly walks towards CM Punk, which I thought I didn't think he ran that quickly, and then put Punk through the barricade. Then Bron Breakker, that's it. He speared Sami.
Monstrous spear, monstrous,
and he picked up the pinfall, and then Bronson Reed crawls into the ring and stands there. Bron Breakker is standing in front of him, and Seth's behind him, and you think, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And then Seth just steps in between them, hugs Bronson Reed.
That was so good.
Welcome to the crew. Bron and Bronson shake hands, and all three are standing in the ring, which, fucking hell, the faction looks a lot scarier than it did, the night before.
If you can't, join them.
Yeah. And if you're wondering what they're up to, you've only got to look now. Big Bronson Reed is in the house. They are going to dominate the red brand, and I'm all for it. I think it's fucking mega. I mean, Dave and Andy, I think you both called that Bronson would be the third man. Did you not?
I think we both called it sort of
Yeah.
basically the night after Mania, or we would. I think most of the IWC did. To be fair, we knew that obviously there'd be a third man somewhere, and yeah, I thought it was going to be Bronson or Jeff, and I'm happy it's Bronson. So yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about it is that the crowd popped massively for him, and it doesn't really help the whole Seth's faction being heels, because they're cheering for all fucking three of them. So it's going to be a hard sell to make them really evil heels.
Well, let's see what destruction awaits this week on Raw.
Indeed, but I'm happy for Bronson Reed. He was on the run of his life pre the injury.
Yeah. What was it? 9 tsunamis on Seth Rollins?
And then obviously
Broke his
with
ankle.
the way the bloodline is at the moment, with Solo and JC Mateo and the rest of the guys, Jacob Fatu, it's just a little bit, there's enough of him to step into. So it is great. I'm super looking forward to it.
No, I completely agree. I thought it was a great way to start the show.
For someone who didn't see that, what were your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, you might notice why I'm so quiet. I apologise, everyone. I actually didn't see the card at all in any form, shape, or way, because I was out having beers and a burger. Because apparently that's more important to me than actual wrestling, but which is disgraceful. But hey ho. No, I will be going back and watching this. I know the results, obviously, because we've got them written down, but I will be going back and watching the beats of the matches, because I do want to see what happened. And you're absolutely right, Fraz. This is an important card, more so than normal. But yeah, I think it's a good thing that obviously they've got the third man finally. It's been a couple of months since they debuted this new faction, and yeah, Bronson's the right fit.
I think the word you're looking for is needle mover. Definitely a needle mover. Yeah, phrase. It is. It's exciting stuff, and I did not think that they would be introducing the third man at Saturday night's main event.
No.
Save that for the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think, like you said, we all called, or certainly I know me and Andy called Bronson Reed. It obviously gone quiet. Didn't see it coming at Saturday night's main event. I thought we'd just have a normal tag match and see some sort of shenanigans. I mean, I honestly thought that Sami Zayn might turn on Punk. But yeah, wow. Very pleased with Big Bronson. Excited for him. He definitely deserves it. And, like Seth says, the future of the business runs through him. And Bronson and Braun are the future. You're looking at, I don't know, Randy Orton and Batista. I don't know. But yeah, incredible. I'm very excited, and I can't wait for what I think is just going to be mass carnage on Raw this week. So let's see what happens.
Which moves on to the next match, Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green. Match was thrown together lastminute.com, as Dave said. I, for one, fast forwarded this match. I did not watch it. I'm just, as I said on our SmackDown review, it's nothing against the girls. The match had a couple of good spots in from the highlights that I watched, but there's no narrative to it. And if there's no narrative, I'm not into the match, and that does portray in the ring. And the crowd weren't into the match either. There's nothing wrong with Chelsea Green, and there's nothing wrong with Zelina Vega having the title, but it was just thrown together at the last minute, and for me was a big thumbs down for the show. It was the only part of the show that I was not interested in. Yeah. Unless David has anything else to say on the matter, because Andy hasn't watched it.
I will just
move on to John Cena.
I will just say two very quick points on this match. One, the code red from the top rope or second rope was fantastic, and a great way to finish the match. But for me, and we spoke about this in our SmackDown recap show, I think Chelsea Green's gimmick needs the title. So I'm surprised they put this match together relatively quickly, and then Chelsea didn't win because, this was Andy's take on this, and I completely agree. JBL and the cabinet, Chelsea needs the title to have these security guards to make this all just make a bit more sense, and to give a bit of oomph to it. So I'm surprised that they threw this match together and nothing really happened from the match. There wasn't even a takeout from Zelina Vega winning. There wasn't any sort of like mass controversy or anything really good or that makes her look any better. It was a really good finisher, but other than that, very boring and didn't make any sense, I don't think.
Quickly. Sorry, go on, Andy.
Sorry, yeah, my only thing, having not seen it, but only seen the results, I would say that if I find the placement of the match odd, because if you're going to have what most would consider to be either a fanatics match where you've got to have invested interest in Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green, or you're not going to bother watching. Realistically, most of the people in the audience would have taken this as a toilet break or a concessions break. So why not put it further up the card? So like they used to just do them like almost like the co-main event. It used to be a thing where the women, as the toilet break for a lot of things, or whatever match it happened to be, whichever match was planned to be the toilet break would go on before the main event, which gave everyone in the crowd a chance to calm down after whatever else came before it, and then build back up for the excitement of the main event. But also, it means that you don't sit there thinking, oh God, I really need a fucking piss for like the last 45 minutes of a show. It's like, to me, I would have put that perhaps after the next match as the middle match of the card, or maybe even fourth. But you could have switched this and the cage match, and I don't think it would have hurt it. No, and I think it would have made the card perhaps a bit more flowing. But I don't know, because I haven't watched. So
yeah, well, it's a 2-hour show, isn't it? So it's not that long to not have a piss. No. And secondly, for me, the amount of fucking commercial breaks there were, I could have gone for about 50 pisses and not missed anything at all.
Talking specifically about the people in the crowd, where they go and buy stuff off the concession stands, go and buy some food, or go and buy some merch. That's what they always do. It's why the gimmick battle royal was at WrestleMania X7. Everybody fucked off to the concession stand for that.
That was the best battle royal in history of battle royals. What are you talking about? The Iron Sheik won that.
Yes, okay.
Alone.
Cheeky baby. But if you actually watch the match, there's a wide shot where everyone is just piling out of that arena.
But anywho, I think Chelsea Green is going to turn face, and Piper Niven and is it Alba Fire? They're going to turn on her. That's how she'll turn. I think they'll get fed up with her bossing them around. They'll beat the fuck out of her. Everyone will feel sorry for Chelsea because she did get a pop when she came out. But anyway, we've spoken far too much about that match.
Yes, I said 2 quick points. Good damn it.
John Cena versus R-Truth. This was everything I wanted it to be. It wasn't a long match. Cena comes out, amazing entrance with the black, blah, blah, blah. And then R-Truth, John Cena's music hits again, and R-Truth comes out as Ron Cena in his old gear, hyping up the crowd, giving them all high fives, comes in the ring, does his, whoa, and then John Cena clotheslines him straight off the bat. Lots of classic Cena offense. I was going to say Simmons gets Simmons gets no offense at all. And then he does the 5 moves of doom, I believe. And then Cena kicks out of the AA, is it? Attitude Adjustment?
Oh, yeah. So Cena pretty much does all his moves, but Truth counters the AA. Truth does all of Cena's moves, but Cena kicks out. Yeah, and then he goes outside the ring.
Then he goes to get the title, and he picks up the belt, and he gets in the ring, and the ref's like, "Don't do it." And then Ron Cena just looks at him like a poor little boy. He's like, "Is my superhero going to smash me in the face of the title belt?" And Cena looks at him, and he's like, for a second, "What am I doing?" And then drops the title. The ref goes to put it out the ring, and behind the ref's back, Cena kicks him in the bollocks, gives him the AA, wins the match.
Cheers, bye.
And it was exactly what it needed to be, which was fucking class. I love R-Truth. I think that's now the end of that. You can have Truth come back perhaps later in the year when Cena's teetering on coming back to being a face, but it served its purpose. It was great TV. R-Truth just needs to go back doing these backstage segments with a bit of comedic value to the show. And Cena moves on to whatever he's going to move on to, which we will discuss in the main event.
Because that's not the last we see of John Cena. He has a fantastic backstage segment coming up after the cage match, which is next, by the way.
You can talk about the cage match, though, Dave.
Oh, can I? Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you. So up next, we had the outstanding steel cage match from Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I, for one, was really interested as to why they were confining these two to the cage, as I said in my prediction show, because they've been wild. They've been at each other like there's no tomorrow. Especially as this is a cage match on like network television where it's not going to get too brutal. So I kind of knew this wouldn't be the blowout match. I still don't think it was or will be. And there's a bit of an internet rumor today that Drew McIntyre is going to be out for a few months. He's got a few injuries, and actually that's part of why this match was sort of confined, so they can't do too much. Having said that, really good match, lots of back and forwards. Beautiful top rope superplex from Drew McIntyre, who brings Damian Priest back in. He was sort of half out of the cage and half in, and he brings him all the way back in. Drew even steals the South of Heaven chokeslam. That doesn't get the job done. He goes for that fantastic Claymore in the corner with the steel chair. But this time, Damian Priest is out of there like there's no tomorrow. Ends up nailing Drew McIntyre with a concerto, a fantastic concerto, and very, very slowly, casually, almost mockingly, like this was easy, takes his time walking out of the door of the cage. But not only that, he stands on the stairs for a while. He looks back at a fallen, battered Drew McIntyre after the concerto, and almost tuts as if in, yeah, there you go. And then really slowly walks down the steps, and finally both his feet touch the floor and the bell rings. And actually, Graz, I think it's Jizzy Ventura who was very distraught about the fact that the match was won just by walking out the door, but clearly that is an option for a steel cage match.
And I did say last week, didn't I, that these two have got bad blood. Drew is kind of a cool heel, and Damian Priest is trying to be a badass as well. It would be chicken shit for them to exit the cage and win the match that way. And I did think Jesse Ventura was going to drop the Predator lyric of "Listen up, you slack-jaw faggots. This is not the way a real man wins the match." But he did. And David, I'll give you props where props are due. You did call it. And it is going to be a rubber match, I would presume, in a month's time when Drew's out, because I read the same thing. He's probably going to be off TV. Hopefully he'll only be off for a few weeks or whatever. I mean, my kids were getting dropped off at the time, so I didn't watch all of the match. I saw the suplex, and it was only because it was like a suplex, wasn't it? It was off.
Yeah, it was a suplex, but that just had the spring from the ropes. But it was, I mean, they're two big guys. I mean, that's a pretty impressive move for two almost 300-pounders. So, and again, in a match where you can't, this isn't going to be the rubber. You're not going to get any color. You can't go too crazy. It's network TV, so you've got to do a couple of big moves, and they did. They stole each other's finishes, which was cool, and they did that big superplex. And there were a couple of spots in there with the chairs. So I think, I liked it. Was it as better than their Mania match? Absolutely not. Is it the best steel cage match? Absolutely not. But it told a story, and it tells more of a story by the way the match finished. And I don't know. I don't think we've got a bad blood this year. But I mean, I can't see this match ending until we have a Hell in a Cell match. That's what I think. And then Mr. McIntyre will win that one, I think.
Do you think? Okay, so I'm going to sort of just open this up to opinion situation, and obviously our viewers are more than welcome to respond in the comments. Gizzy Ventura, I believe, made a very, very salient point about how the fact he didn't like the fact that Damien just waltzed out the fucking door.
Very good.
Now, it's very seldomly used, that option. Very, very rarely do people just stroll out the door. Most of the time, if they are going to escape, they go over the top.
Yep.
Was that not an... I can't remember much about the blue cage, the old-fashioned blue cage. I'm guessing there wasn't a door? You had to go over the top?
Yeah, there was.
There was a door, but yeah, just very, very rarely. I think Brett got out of it once against Diesel in your house.
See, I always thought it was literally a case of the cage was put up and there was no door.
No, there was a door, because they'd always try and crawl out of the door, and then someone would drag them back in.
Right.
But
yeah, I honestly can't remember someone going out the door and actually winning.
The only reason I bring it up, obviously, is because during Jesse's era, it would have been the Big Blue, and obviously that changed the chain link around about the sort of mid-90s.
He basically, the reason he was sorry to cut you off. The reason he was saying that was exactly the same reason I said to you last week. He said it at the top of the show. He was looking forward to the cage match, and he just hopes that no one walks out of the cage or climbs over the top and escapes.
He wanted settled in the cage.
In the cage, yeah. So it was.
Yeah, he's emphasising that this isn't the end of the feud, but but obviously that it was built up that this was the end of the feud. This is like one more match to decide who's the blah 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 blah. And yeah, it didn't finish to expectations to finish a feud, and so he was just playing to that as a heel commentator.
Of course.
So after this, we had the John Cena promo. He's walking backstage. Jey Uso is walking towards Gorilla, and he basically stops Jey and says, "Haven't seen you since Rumble or whatever. It's nice to see you." And then Jey Uso's like, what's he say? Last time I saw you, I was throwing you out the window at Royal Rumble. And then John Cena basically says, "Well done on winning the title. I'm the champ." And something along the lines of, "Oh, well, when I walk out of the title in a few months' time, wouldn't it be crazy if we had a YouTube champion? That's a lot of pressure for you.
Wouldn't that be good as a way to ruin wrestling?"
That sounds like it's going to ruin wrestling.
That's it.
And then he says, "Good luck, champ," and then walks off. And I was like, at this point, I'm thinking, John Cena, the hate that I've given that man, he's fucking brilliant at the minute. I'm loving everything Cena does. This whole heel runner's quality. It's not how I pictured it.
No.
But it is working. And I'm liking Cena more and more. The crowds are loving Cena. There are going to be people like the gentleman at the bottom of the screen who doesn't like Cena, whatever he does. However, he's such a polarizing character. In the match with R-Truth, we had chants of "You can't wrestle." Yes, he can. He just quality. Thank you, Cena, at the end of the match as well. He's so over. But anyway, I digress. Main event. Jey comes out, huge pop, does things with kids. Logan Paul pops
not like
out. That. Well, you know what I mean, don't you? He's now getting.
Does he come out and say anything specifically, Jey? So does he come out and say?
No, I don't think he does. Actually, I don't think he says. I don't think he says anything. In fact,
he doesn't. No, he doesn't do too. It's a standard entrance. I mean, it's good.
He doesn't do that. We can check in. I think we've got special guests coming later for the predictions that might be able to fill us in for that. But he comes out. Logan Paul comes out with his quality theme music, which I love. That humble, yeah. And I was thinking. I looked at the timer on YouTube and I thought, "Fuck me! There's 10 minutes left of this show. What's going on?" Right? Bearing in mind, we'd had the backstage segment. Then there was an advert on YouTube. Then they got in the ring. They fought for like 2 minutes. And then we had 4 minutes of commercials. And then we had the last like 4 minutes of match. So it was almost like entrances, start match, commercial break, finish match. I mean, what was going on there? It blew my mind. But anyway,
great spots though.
I had some great spots.
When Logan Paul done his little slingshot over the ropes and was going to go for his clothesline, but Jay countered with a super kick. I thought that was going to be over there, Nash, and that was a hell of a super kick. That was a great counter. Thought that was really good.
Yeah, very good super kick. Some may say better than HBK. A friend of mine said that. But because of what happened with the third man being revealed, I actually, for a split second, so Cena then comes out, doesn't he? And I thought, fuck me, they're going to put the title on Logan Paul here. If they can bring out Bronson Reed, they can put the title on Logan Paul. And honestly, for a split second, I did think that he was going to win when Cena came out. But then we get the and Cody Rhodes comes out, which again was not expecting that.
No,
completely out of the blue. In fact, earlier on in the show, I was just thinking, and I was like, I wonder when Cody's going to come back. It's got to be a month, maybe 2, a month at the earliest. And then he pops out and he's looking great. The crowd love him. Andy, why are you rolling your eyes? So I said he pops out.
I didn't roll my eyes. I was opening my eyes.
I thought you were thinking that I said that he popped out.
I mean, if he popped out, he popped out. But
he popped out down the entrance. Sorry,
absolutely.
I shouldn't be phrasing. But anyway, Cody Rhodes comes out. He helps Jay win, and then he grabs the mic and basically says, "Oh well, you're marching through the Cena fucking farewell tour, is marching through Rhodes country.
Yes,
you've got yourself a partner with Logan Paul. I've got myself a brother in the world heavyweight champion, Jey Uso. You two versus us two, Money in the Bank." Yeah. And then the show goes off air. There are rumours that apparently it's going to be who's the rapper who come down? Travis Scott. It's going to go with John Cena and Logan Paul.
Yeah, and I think
and Jimmy Uso is going to join with Jay, and they're going to have a 6-man tag. I think that would be disgusting, personally. And I don't like the thing I didn't like about that. The ending of the match was great, and it was nice seeing Cena and having Cody, and the run-ins was superb. But that means that you've got both champions in the same match. There's no title match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, that's an interesting. But then it's a gimmick pay-per-view set around the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. So I'm not adverse to not having a title match on that show, because that show is all the whole point of the Money in the Bank is to set up new stories for the titles. So the fact that there isn't a story for the title at the moment, that makes sense for them to be in this match, I guess.
Maybe we will have a title match at the pay-per-view.
Well, we have had 6-man tag matches for the titles before.
No, I'm saying maybe someone will cash in after the match.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's my point, though. That's my point. When was the last time you had a Money in the Bank pay-per-view where the winner cashed in on the champ that night? So you win your briefcase and then you cash in.
It's normally the women
go to work.
The women normally do it. The last 10 years or so since the women started getting a briefcase.
There's been one guy, isn't there, who's done it, and I can't remember who.
Kane did it once, I think.
Yeah, it's Kane.
But yeah, normally it's the women. For so long, I mean, Liv did it the same night. She cashed in on Ronda. Who else?
Yeah, you're talking about women. I'm talking about the guys.
No, I'm just saying that
the big
in terms
men.
of dudes. Everyone. It's normally the women.
I always believe that there should be at least a men's title match and a women's title match at every pay-per-view. That's just my thoughts. And as it is Money in the Ladder, and there is an opportunity for a gentleman to cash in, that's the whole point. It creates a what-if scenario. So every PLE, there should be a world title match, and then the winner of the Money in the Bank should then tease, or not a Damian Priest where he comes out and he's like, I'm going to cash it in, and we all know he's not going to, but it just leaves you speculating, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get your point. I think there's a couple of pay-per-views a year or PLEs that, like I said, for me, I'm not worried. Survivor Series, if we're doing war games or even if we're doing the tag matches, it's fine. I don't, I'm not adverse to not having one at the Rumble, and I'm fine to not have the title match at the Money in the Bank because I just want to, like I say, I think they're setting the stall for the titles. I think actually it's incredibly rare you get two opposing champions in the same match, so I think that's interesting. That hasn't happened for a long time. Obviously, one's heel and one's face, but they're not even the real story in the match. I mean, Cena is, but it's all about Cody Rhodes coming back, and sticking Jey Uso, who probably most is the lower tier champion of the two at the moment, in a match that's so high profile with so many other high profile people, can only make him look better as well. So I'm pretty pumped for that. I think everyone will come out of that match looking better.
Can't say I share your sentiments there, David. However, that is the reason why we have this show, for us to express our opinions on certain things. I just find it disappointing that both champions are in the same match and there is no title match. However, I shall probably be proved wrong, and it'll be an excellent match.
Well, speaking of who may or may not be proved wrong, should we have a little look at those fantastic predictions and see who out of us is the prediction master for Saturday night's main event?
Indeed. Oh,
lashback.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is me, Lord Alfred Hayes, back once again for another edition of Saturday Night Main Event. We are going to run through the predictions created by the boys. Yes, that is Andrew, Nero, Dirty David, and Farid Fayez Youssef. First up on the card, we had CM Punk and Sami Zayn facing Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. Now, as you can see, all three of the gentlemen did select Seth and Bron, but did anyone get this spot on?
Andy?
I did. Via pinfall, third man will be revealed.
Well done.
So that's 2 points.
Congratulations, Andrew. Stellar work, my friend. I will like to add that Farid did say that they would win due to interference, but it wasn't from that gentleman. David, pretty ridiculous prediction there, I must say. As we were unaware of the female US title match, we did not select a prediction for this, so we will skip past that and move swiftly on to John Cena versus Ron Cena, in which all three of you were totally clueless. So no points for anyone. And we have the steel cage match. Damien, the High Priest, versus Drew McIntyre. Andy and David both selected Damien, whereas Farid, Drew did not win, you foolish Syrian child. However, David, you have... are we going to give you 4 points there? Climb out of cage using his limbs. He did use his legs to walk out.
It was the weirdest way of defining that. What else would he have used?
I suppose he didn't. And technically, I mean, look, as much as I would like to get 2 points out of this, he actually went out the door and not climbed the cage. But it's up to you. I'll take 2 points if you want, but I think I probably only deserve 1 point for that.
No, we'll give you one. Moving on to the main event. Main event of the evening.
Yes.
4 letters, 1 word. Yite. I do believe David has the incorrect selection here of Logan Paul via DQ. Farid, you were correct in your assumption he would win. It was not via super kick, though, was it?
No.
It was a big splash off the top rope, like
but
big
he did-
stuff
he
back
did-
in the heyday.
He did do a fantastic super kick.
Some might say it's better than HBK's.
Idiots would say that.
Not me or Dave or even Fraz. I think it's
No.
you, Al Fraz, isn't it?
No, I do not know what you're talking about, gentlemen. This is Farid's selection. He was the gentleman that suggested that HBK's super kick was inferior to the man from Samoa, Jey Uso. Yes, well, anyway, no one got that splendidly right. I think Andy is the winner here, don't you?
I've got Andy down as 4 illustrious points. And then Dave and Fraz joint second or last, however you'd like to call it, with 2 points each. So Andy, congratulations, Andy, who didn't even watch the show.
I didn't even watch the show. I'm a winner by default, and I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Splendid work, dear boy.
Yes, congratulations, well done. Well, there we have it, everybody. That is our recap of Saturday night's main event, a recap of our predictions, and a recap of the show. I assume, if everybody loves this little format, that we will do a fantastic little Money in the Bank prediction show in the coming weeks, and then we can do a recap of that as well. So if you like it, put your comments in, let us know what you think, like, share, subscribe. We love it. So thank you very much. From Fraz and Andy, is there anything you would like to say to close the show?
No?
20 times. 20
20
bloody times.
20 times. And if you don't know what that means, Google it. Ladies, gentlemen, everybody, however you want to be called, have a fantastic bank holiday weekend. And we will see you at our next video. Or we won't if you don't like it. But I'd rather that we did. Good night.
God bless. See you tomorrow. I love you all.
You
You love
too many
me.
pencils.